Hi guys, it's Marina here. Today I'm going to be recommending 3 horse books for you to read. The first book I wanted to share with you guys is The $80 Champion, and this is about Snowman, the horse that inspired a nation. So obviously I'm not going to spoil every detail of all these books. I'm just going to give you guys a quick overview. But this book is about, obviously, a $80 champion. The way that he gets this $80 horse is he is late to an auction, and so they've packed up all the horses and they're shipping the rest of them off to a kill pen. And the guy is literally driving away with a kill pen truck, and he has him unload it. He's like, I'll pay you extra money, just like I need to come back with a horse. Found this horse, and his kids named him Snowman. So he paid $80 for him, and the short of it, this isn't going to give it away because you probably guys already know, but he actually won multiple Triple Crowns. I mean, you've probably already heard about Snowman, but I highly recommend that you read this book. For me, I really liked the story in the beginning. It's super engaging, but then throughout the story you learn a lot about what's going on at this time period, but also you learn a lot about show jumping. So for me, I've done like a pony club camp on jumping. I don't really know very much about it. Obviously that's not like my discipline. I'm a trail rider. So this was really helpful to kind of understand terminology and also see how it played out and the difference between how they did things back then and how they do things now. If you're into horses, jumping, or history, then this is a book for you. The next book I have for you is called Joey. So this is about a horse. Can you guess what his name is? Joey. I know you didn't see that coming. This slogan is like, how a blind rescue horse helped others learn to see. So this book has a lot of rescue horse stories, and this is based on a true story. The writing in it is subpar, but the story is really great. So there's this farm called Hope Reigns, and she creates it by like rescuing horses and then having those horses work with kids who have gone through some sort of tragedy. It's actually just such a cool, powerful story. Like, we all know that when you work with horses, it is like a healing experience. And this talks about just like huge dramatic changes that it's made in children's lives. This is definitely a tearjerker for sure, because they talk about like horses that have gone through tragedies, children that have gone through tragedies, and then when the horses pass away, how tragic it is for the people who rescued them. And just like that feels like a missing piece in their heart once they're gone. Anyways, such a good story. I was so glad that I picked it up because some of the reviews are like hit and miss, but definitely a good story. Highly recommend. Okay, the last book, my favorite out of the 3, is The Man Who Listens to Horses. So this is about Monty Roberts' life. You've probably heard that name. He is a huge horse trainer. He also is the one who created the join-up method and did a lot of work with wild mustangs. This is a phenomenal book. This one is my favorite, so I'm going to talk a little bit about it. Like, I'm not going to give everything away. Literally every single page is just amazing. The story is so inspiring. So Monty grows up in a very abusive household. His dad is this macho cowboy who does things in a very rough and gruff and horribly abusive way, both to his children and to the horses that he works with. Monty basically grew up in a horrible environment, but he worked with horses from, like, I think he talked about like the age of 3 riding. So his dad did everything in a really rough and abusive way. Monty worked with a couple horses without using those methods and figured out that, hey, there's another way. And he just couldn't bring himself to use his dad's method of training. That caused obviously a lot of tension between them. So he eventually got away and was able to go out on his own. And just there's so many really cool stories about him training horses and using his join-up method. And he explains it in depth in this book. I didn't know anything about Monty Roberts before I read this book. Like, I had heard his name, but I didn't know anything about him. And I had heard the term join up before, but I didn't know what it meant. And after reading this book, it just made so much sense to me. I felt like I could train a wild Mustang. So everything was just about how to communicate with the horse in the way that the horse can understand, and that you're working as a team and it's not like you're forcing or torturing a horse to get it to do what you want. And I just felt really empowered and excited about one day being able to train a wild Mustang or work with a wild Mustang. And this is just, it's such a great book of overcoming, because he definitely had a horrible upbringing, but he has turned into an amazing man, husband, and father. And he obviously is he's still training actually in California and has this amazing farm. But I'm gonna leave the rest for you guys to read for yourself. Out of the 3 books, this is definitely number 1. I have been a huge reader like my entire life since I learned how to read. And this is my all-time favorite book, like in the whole world, my favorite book that I've ever read, which is saying a lot because I've read a lot of books. The story is really obviously inspiring, but the way that they write it is really engaging because they hop around his timeline. It doesn't just start when he's young and go all the way to when he's old. They hop around, and so it's really engaging. I would recommend this to people who aren't even into horses and don't even care about horses. 100%. It's just a great story. If you have any horse book recommendations, leave those in the comments below. Or if you have already read one of these, let me know. If you haven't, definitely pick one of these up. You can find them used on Amazon or at the library because they're very popular. If you haven't already, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you next Tuesday.